to my computer. And so I'll obviously share the recording with you. But so I'm just going to do a little introduction for everyone that's going to be seeing this on YouTube. So for everyone watching this on YouTube, I'm with Wendy here, and we are doing a analysis on Louisville. She is one of Kyle Stanley, the Fearless Investors students. Strongly recommend you check out Kyle on YouTube. And she has received one of a market analysis from me for Louisville, and we are literally just about to hop into it and go through all the details. So let's just get right into it. But let's just start off. So before I get into like the nitty gritty detail, do you have any questions? Do you have any concerns before I start off?
No.
No?
No,
Okay.
good.
Okay, perfect. And one thing I always tell people too is when I go through this, we only have an hour and there's a lot of stuff I want to cover. So I will talk for really long and really long sentences. And so if there's any point in time you want to jump in, just cut me off. It's not going to offend me. I know how I talk. I know how I am. So you have full permission to do that and will not be rude. Okay, just so you know.
Okay.
Perfect, cool. So obviously when we started off and got the raw data from AirDNA, this is what it originally looked like, right? So every single row that we are looking at here is an Airbnb, right? This is an Airbnb, that's another one, and so on and so forth. Then every single row is a different piece of data about that Airbnb. So we have the average daily rate, the occupancy, bedrooms, bathrooms. We also have the annual revenue, and we have the Airbnb link as well, plus the lat and long. So a lot of really useful information that we use to try and figure out what we're trying to do here, right? Now, when we started off with this data, we had, if I bring it all the way down to the bottom, 1,700 units, almost 1,800 units that we were trying to, that exist in Louisville, right? And the issue with a lot of that data is a lot of it's actually inaccurate. So a lot of it's not useful data. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to run a full-time Airbnb business, right? You want to build you want to buy a home or rent a home and use it on a full-time basis and not just part-time and when you're there and not there and stuff like that. So we need to be finding homes and data that is annual revenue data, not part of the year or people who just do it on the weekends or people who just rent out their spare bedroom. We need full-time Airbnbers just like you or me, right? And so the very first step that I do is I remove all of the bad data. And so we started off with 17 to 1,800, and we ended up with 465. So a lot of that was removed. About 1,300 listings were removed, right?
Wow.
I show you that just because it's like the first step is that, and it's a pretty important step. So these tabs here, you can see at the bottom, I'm going to hide them because they are not something that you need to use or you will use. So we'll keep those hidden. This is just a welcome page to let you know at the end, you'll make a file, make a copy. We'll get to that later. And so anyways, this is what it ends up looking like. So we take that raw data, we get rid of all the bad data, and then we put it into a report that looks like this, okay? May look like a whole bunch of stuff is going on right now, but I promise you it's super simple, right? On the left-hand side, we have neighborhoods, okay? So we have all the different neighborhoods, and right here we have a zip code, right? So 40204, and then we have a neighborhood. Now the neighborhood is more so a nickname and not the exact neighborhood, okay? So what you'll see here is if I go to 40204 in AirDNA and I click that, it's going to break up this section of the city into that zip code, right?
Yeah.
Let this pop open so you can see we're now only looking at that section. So I know that the very first one here, 40204 Highlands, is this section of the city, right? Now, if I were to zoom in here, you can see that, let me remove all these listings so you can see them. You can see that it says Highlands here, Cherokee Triangle, Tyler Park, and Germantown. So there's more than one neighborhood in this zip code, but we just use Highland as kind of like a reminder. So when you're in the report, you have a general idea of where it is, right? But you kind of need to go back and forth. So that's the first part. So everything on the left-hand side is going to be the zip code with a nickname. And then up here, we have the unit sizes. So you can see there's a studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, right? And then where those two connect is the average annual revenue of all of those listings. So for every 1 bedroom in the Highlands area, The average annual revenue of all of them is $22,000 a year.
Hmm,
Okay.
Okay.
And if I were to come over here and I click go from average to count, it will tell me how many listings I'm looking at. So you can see there's 21 bedrooms in the Highlands area that made it through our process.
Okay.
Okay. And
Mhm.
so the average annual revenue, if I change that back to average, the average annual revenue that we're looking at is based on 20 listings, which means that there are 10 doing better than 22,000 and 10 that are doing worse than 22,000. Right.
Okay.
And so what you would want to do is like, okay, before I jump to that step, the way I just want to take one step back, right? So now you know what you're looking at. If you were to say, hey, I'm wondering about, Deer Park, and I want to know about the 4 bedrooms, you can see that the 4 bedrooms on average are doing $81,000 a year, right? And
Yep.
and so that is a pretty good number, right? Especially if you're doing rental arbitrage, you need nice big numbers to cover your margins, right?
Yeah.
Cover your expenses, sorry. Now the green shadings is based on the number of listings. Okay, there's a little legend down here to explain, just so you always
Oh,
remember.
I see. Yeah. Yeah.
And so once again, if I come over here and change the average to count, it tells me that there's 14, right? So there's
Mhm.
14 Airbnb listings here. That's why it has that darker green. But then these ones only have 4 or 2. This one's a mistake. Let me change these. Are actually both mistakes. So let me just change this real quick. Okay, so if it has a lighter green, that means there's slightly less data there. Now, the reason I give it a slightly lighter green color is because you have to be weary of locations that don't have a lot of data. Data is only useful if you can find a trend. Okay,
Yeah.
so there are a lot of homes doing the same thing. I'm not sure if I've already explained this, but I may repeat myself, but it's useful. So I like to use the McDonald's theory, or sorry, the Burger King logic. So McDonald's spends millions of dollars to figure out what's the absolute best corner to be on, and Burger King opens up across the street, right?
Yeah.
So we are Burger King in this scenario. All of
Okay.
these people are McDonald's, and they have opened up and tested out all of these different areas and unit sizes across the entire city. And they have
Uh-huh.
proven that some places make a lot of money and some places don't. And so what
Right.
we're trying to figure out is where are the areas that make the most money, and we are going to open up right across the street. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. And so but that logic, right, is we need the trends. We need to see that a lot of people are doing it. We can't just really see that one person is making a lot of money and think that we're going to do the same, right? If there's only one home in the area, we
I
don't
was
know
just going to ask, yeah, so should we discount those, the ones that are
discount
just
it.
one home? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty well just discount it, because if there's only one home, you don't know if the person's doing really well or really bad, right?
Yeah.
Or right in the middle, or whatever it may be. And maybe like it's just not what you want, right? What we want is we want to see some consistency.
So we're looking really at the ones that are dark green.
Yes,
Got
that's
it.
where that's the safe zones is what I like to call it when you're
Safe
dealing with
zone.
data. Now that doesn't mean that you never want to look at these areas over here. You might come across a really good deal in one of these areas, and you can dive a little. You can go into this data and kind of take a guess, like learn the area based on only the 4 listings that are there. You're just kind of taking a bigger risk by doing that. Okay, but you know that now is what matters. Okay, so now, with that being said, we understand how to read this, right? If we want to figure out a 2-bedroom in a certain area, we just connect the dots, right? We know where the good areas, or what the good data is, what the bad data, not so good data is. Now what we want to do is say, where's the most money being made? So this is really the easiest part, where we know what we're looking for, and all we want to do now is figure out where we can find the most money being made. Sorry, I'm freezing this so that it's easier to look at. So when we're looking at this map, we see that the 1-bedrooms are not doing really well in all reality, right? There's like 20,000. It's not a good number. The 2-bedrooms are once again not doing very well, but then there's this sort of jump with the 3-bedrooms, at least for this area. Now, when you see a big jump like that, where this one's making 80,000, this one's making 38, I'd be a little wary of that. Usually means there might be something wrong with the data, and we'll get into that.
Okay.
But if you keep going, you can see that in the 4 bedrooms, there's this location's making 109, and then 5 bedrooms, 131, 6 bedrooms, 142. So like that's a really good sign to see because it's a
Mm,
consistent growth as more bedrooms get put on. And then in the over here in the 4 bedrooms as well, we can see there's these two areas are doing 70 and doing 81. This one's at 70 as well. And then this guy's sort of lower. So the way I would think about this
mm,
is I'm just trying to find the biggest number because why go anywhere else, right?
right, right.
And so I see that these 4, 5, and 6 are all doing really well. And they're kind of incrementally going higher. Now, my first thought is this Highlands area, which we've already looked at, which is this area right here with all these different locations.
Yeah.
I want to know, are there any 4 bedrooms, 4 bedroom, 5 bedrooms, or 6 bedrooms in that area to rent, right? So
Mhm.
before I actually go and dive into the data, let's see if there's anything actually available in that area, right?
Mm, yeah. So do you use the zip code
Well, I just type in the,
town? But, okay.
yeah, so not Kansas, Kentucky. So I just type in that and then I would zoom up into that area, okay?
Oh,
So I
okay.
know that you're looking for rent to start off, right? So we're gonna go for rent.
Right.
And I know that we're looking for 4 bedrooms or more. So we'll do 4 bedrooms plus, and then we'll go done. And now let's go into that area and see if we can find anything for rent. And there's nothing,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
nothing.
Okay.
So now it doesn't mean that if I'm just checking Zillow, I could go over to Craigslist and check that. I could even argue that this is really, really close, but to the next step that we're going to do is going to take a bit of work. And
Mhm.
so you want to make sure that there's actually supply where you're going to go, right? If there's no supply,
Yeah,
then why bother?
exactly.
Now I'm going to check one thing here. So this area right here, once again, is doing much higher than all the other areas. And it's making, I'm curious why. So what you want to do when you're curious about something or curious about an area. So right now I'm interested in Norton Children's Hospital, 3 bedrooms.
Mhm.
You can either double click this or you right click it and go show details. Okay. And when you
Mhm.
do that, what's going to happen is it's going to make a new tab. Do you see this new tab down here? It says Norton Children's Hospital 3.
Yeah.
Perfect. So that is now a new tab with each row here is an Airbnb listing, and each one that we're looking at is a 3 bedroom in Norton Children's Hospital area. Okay.
Okay.
So now we're only exclusively looking at this one subsection, right? Because
Mm.
we've narrowed it down to this, and it seems like these homes are doing fairly well. But what I want to try and figure out is, are they actually doing around 80,000? And so the first thing I want to do is come to revenue, and I want to organize it from highest to lowest. So what I can see is there's one outlier here that's doing
Oh, yeah.
108, a 208, and
Why
then
is that so much more than the rest?
one
Is
of
it
two
like,
reasons. It's either luxury or it's incorrect data. So
okay,
sometimes people have a really nice home and they only put it up for a weekend or two when they go on vacation. And
I
then
see.
they block off their calendar for the rest of the time, and AirDNA thinks that they booked it, right? Now
Mm,
the other scenario is that it's just an absolutely amazing home and people will pay a lot for it. And that's, at first glance, that's what I'm assuming is happening.
yeah, it does look brand new.
Yeah,
Um,
it does look really well done,
yeah.
but I wouldn't be confident that this is doing 200,000. That's an aggressive amount of money to be making.
Can we find the occupancy? Is it like,
Yeah, so we have the occupancy, everything. It's actually, maybe it is doing 200,000 because this is an absolutely beautiful place.
yeah, it's really done. I mean,
Yeah,
done.
really great photos. They have, so the way to confirm that the data is real is we check the number of reviews, which I usually, so like one of my criterias for removing data is reviews. So there'll almost always be a lot of reviews. What worries me about this place is that it has not great reviews, like 4.57 isn't that great, right?
Mhm.
And to be making 200,000 and not have good reviews, that usually doesn't go hand in hand. Plus it only allows 6 people and it's a 3 bedroom. So like some of this stuff isn't making sense. So what I want
Mm,
to do is look at the calendar, and you always want to see a spotty calendar. because the spotty calendar means that it's actually being booked out by Airbnb, because Airbnb bookings are always random, right? So the calendar looks spotty, which is good. So now what I would want to do is look at the past 12 months of reviews, because if I see that there's been consistent reviews every single month, then I know that the home's actually been booked out every single month and the past 12 months is correct, because the AirDNA algorithm records on a month by month basis, or sorry, day by day basis, right? So
Okay.
the homes that we're looking at should have been up for around 250 to 365 days. It's in that they've been around for at least that long. And so it's at least an annual number that we're looking at. And so I want to see that there's actually bookings every single month. If there is a gap where there is no review for an entire month, that is a warning sign to say that that person blocked off the calendar, because you don't go an entire month without getting any reviews. It just doesn't happen.
Okay.
You can see,
Yeah.
as we can see, there's nothing for August,
Oh, I see. Yeah.
September. So August is completely missing.
Right.
May. Everything else is here though, except for May.
Right. So that May and August they
Or sorry.
blocked off.
Sorry, for May was there. August wasn't there.
August. Yeah.
So maybe they blocked off August, but that maybe, I don't know, maybe it is getting this. Oh, they have a lot of other listings. They have over 3,000 reviews.
So how come if they've got over 3,000 reviews?
Because they have a bunch of listings, and so that's an accumulation of all of their other listings. So you can see they have 15 listings.
Oh, I see down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You know what this might be? Oh, man,
what?
the tough one.
Because I'm like, I don't know what to make of this.
I think they just might actually be making $200,000 a year, which is just mind-boggling.
On that one property or on all of the properties?
No, just that one property, because that's the data for just one property. You know
Oh,
how
wow.
to tell this is if we'll look at the next lowest one. And if
Okay.
so the way to determine this is so pretty much right now, everything is telling me that they're making $208,000. There's nothing that within my data check other than that August is missing to say that this is incorrect. So this technically, as of right now, is correct. Now,
So classing that as a luxury though, right? That looks pretty, nice luxury home. Okay.
And so the way that we'll determine if it is actually that much better is if this 96,000 and the 75,000 don't even compete. Like they don't even look nearly as nice. Now, if the 96,000 looks as nice as the 200,000, then that doesn't make any sense. So let's go into it now.
Okay.
Now, mind you, this is not directly as useful as what I would like it to normally be. Normally we do things a little differently. See, I would say that this isn't very far off. I know it's not, I would know it's not the same, but I wouldn't say it's far off.
No, it from the photos, it looks nice. Is it the same number of bedrooms and everything?
It is, yep. All of these are
Yeah.
3 bedrooms and they're all in the
All
exact same area.
And this one sleeps 6 like the other one,
This
or
one sleeps 10.
Oh, it sleeps 10.
Yeah, see, this is where I call bullshit on the data on the other place.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because this is looking very nice. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised at the gap between the two.
Yeah, so what we would do here is we would say, I don't believe that this is correct. So we mark that yellow. Now this one here being 96, that's reasonable, that's normal. I assume that that's correct. And so I'm going to give it a green.
Okay.
Now what we're doing here, I don't think this is the best location to do it. And we kind of skipped a step, but we got intrigued by this one making 200,000. So we went on a little tangent. But what we would want to do here is we would actually want to review each one of these listings and vet them to see if they're real or not, right? And what would happen is we would end up knowing what style of a home and listing you would need to be able to make $96,000 in this area if you were to have a 3-bedroom, and what you would need to make 75,000. And then you can see there's a little grouping here of around almost 60, and then off around 40, right? So these 2 homes are going to look very similar, and these 2 homes are going to look very similar, right? Now, this isn't a great data set to go into for the first time. So I'm actually going to jump out of this one and we're going to find a better data set. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Does that logic make sense though?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got really intrigued by that
Me too.
$200,000.
Me too. I'm like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I want to go see that place now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I might walk by it and I'll see if I can find it when I go.
If I were you, I'd reach out to those owners and just be like, hey, I saw this home, I'm super intrigued by it. Like, any chance you'd be willing to talk about it, Because I mean, if they have 3,000 listings, they have 15 or 3,000 reviews, they have 15 listings. People like that, they want to talk about Airbnb all the time. And
Do they? Oh, okay.
oh yeah, like every Airbnb community, I like everyone wants to talk to everybody, share, you know what I mean, share in the wealth and stuff like that. But yes,
Okay. Then
I
I
would,
think I will do that. I'll put that, make a note that I should
yeah,
go
just
back and
find them. You could always like just go right to, this is them here, right? So you have their name, David and Amy. You know that they live in Louisville. And so
right.
if you were to go to Facebook and type in David from Louisville, Kentucky, odds are if you just look for that type of a person, you might find them on Facebook.
Really?
You can reach out to them
Okay.
on Facebook. And same thing with Amy. So anyways, yeah, recommendation. Okay, so let's go back. So now the next thing I want to look at is these two areas right here, because what I don't like about what I'm seeing in Louisville is that from 1 all the way up to 3 for this area, there's not a lot of money being made, right? It goes from 22,000, 32, 38.
Mhm.
That's not enough. You need to be making, it needs to be making more, it needs to be jumping higher. So I would be avoiding these areas because it doesn't seem like a lot of money is being made right there.
Yeah.
But then it jumps to 70, right? Now, typically that would make me as nervous as seeing this jump to 82. Okay. And we already know that this only jumped to 82 because of that one home that was doing 208, right? Because it pulled the average so much higher.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to check into this one, but once again, there's barely any jump from these three. And then all of a sudden, like a $30,000 jump. It seems odd. However, the one down here also did the same thing. And so maybe there's something about the 4 bedrooms in Louisville that are doing better, right? We did see that there was one doing 96 and one doing 97. So there are some people making money, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so let's jump into the 80. I want to go into the 81 just because it's
Where is that?
this is in
That
Deer Park.
Deer Park.
Yeah, let's go there. Would that say 405? 205.
420. Yeah, 40205.
Just so when you're going through this yourself, it's only the last 2 numbers that are different. So 402 is the same for every single spot,
Yeah,
and
I
the
see.
last 2 change. So
The last few
yeah,
digits.
I always try and just go 05 and makes it go quicker, easier. Here.
Okay.
Little tips. All right, so that's here. So you can see it borders the Highland one. We got this
Oh yeah, there's a hospital like not far away, and that
airport.
other hospital's on the other side, and it's
Yeah,
kind of in between. The
hospital,
zoo.
airport, university, all right there.
Oh yeah, is the university there? Yeah, I see.
And the zoo.
And the zoo. So sounds like people with coming maybe to visit, students and
Yeah, which is not normally what books out a 4 bedroom. Usually what books out a 4 bedroom is like a big group wanting to go have a good time. Now let's just go straight to it. So I've opened up the Deer Park 4 bedrooms, and on average they're doing 81,000. And I'm going to come here and organize it from highest to lowest, right? We see once again we have an outlier doing almost 200,000. So
yeah.
another one of those scenarios. But what we do have here is we have 3 homes that are not doing super close, but also not far apart, right? There's about a $13,000 difference between these guys here.
Okay.
And this is actually what I look for. So I can find 3 homes that are all roughly around the same amount. Odds are they're going to look very similar, right? And that's some consistency. And if I can see how well they're doing, my thought is I want to open up across the street doing the same thing, possibly better. right? And we're looking at 4 bedrooms now in this area, and that's here. So we can see there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's quite a few 4 bedrooms in this Deer Park area. Actually, there's
Yeah.
even more over here.
Right.
And the rent is actually fairly cheap. This is at least in my brain, because I'm used to Chicago prices, and Chicago's
Are they?
like $4,000 for it's $1,000
Yeah.
per bedroom. So in my head, that's pretty cheap, which means I know my numbers. So with $4,000 of rent, I have to be making $90,000 a year minimum.
Okay.
So with $2,000 of rent, odds are you can drop that by about 20,000 or more, probably more. So if your home was making 70,000, you would be able to be profitable at these rents, right? Does that?
Okay.
I'll show you. I'll break that down for you in a second, because we're
Okay.
working through this. I'll break it down. But what I'm getting at is that with these numbers that I'm seeing here,
Yeah.
there's most likely possibility for you to make somewhere around $10,000 to $20,000 of profit off a rental arbitrage in this area.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go into it. Hopefully all 3 of these links open. Now another issue that happens, and it's going to happen, is dead links. So for whatever reason, AirDNA has a lot of data on Airbnb on AirDNA where the links don't open up, and there's just not much that you can do about it. But this is our very first home, and right off the bat, I love it. I'm liking what I'm seeing, because the photos are taken really well. They have 5-star review on 17 reviews. Getting 5-star reviews consistently for 17 reviews, well done. Like, that's impressive. That's not an easy feat. So good for them. And I think that, they probably could do some things better. They probably don't need to show off a
faucet.
Yeah, they probably could have showed off something else, but it is what it is. Title's a little boring, but she's doing a good job, and she made 78. She's making 80,000. So let's take a look at the home. Okay. So we can see that there's a really big entrance. It has
the columns.
Yeah, beautiful columns. Looks great.
It's got a lot of curb appeal.
Yeah, big time. Which is why she has all those photos in the first one, but the inside too is great. I think it looks really good.
Yeah,
Really
nice.
well. This is actually a really bad photo. I don't know why she has that in there. The kitchen's actually really, really boring. There's nothing going on with the kitchen, which is interesting because the dining room looks awesome. The kitchen, not so much. Now she's okay. So this is a interesting type of listing. This is a listing. I don't know how to explain this. I have all these different categories of hosts in my head, and this is what I would call like somebody who has a great home, really cares and loves the home, and is just like taking great photo, not like professional photos, but iPhone photos that did a good job to show it off. And the fact that she has 5-star reviews on 17 reviews, it's really impressive.
Okay.
Anyways, this is big luxurious walk-in, or big luxurious thing there. There's a lot of cares, it feels very homey, right? You would literally feel like you're walking into somebody's home with the amount of care. Even all these photos of the
flowers and
flowers, just all those little touches, right?
You're
trying to get across.
So it said it had 10 beds. So what does that? I mean, it's 4 bedrooms, but it said it had 10 beds. I don't quite get that. Is that they're counting sofas or like?
Yep. So you can see in this room here, there's 1 bed there, 1 bed there, and 1 bed there.
Oh, wow.
One room has 3 beds. So in total, there's 10 mattresses in the entire house, but there's only 4 bedrooms. Does that make sense? Yeah. So they're just jamming people into these.
So technically, it said it sleeps 12. I think it said.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. So this is what makes $78,000 a year. Now, I'm noticing here now is we're definitely in an upstairs unit, right? Because you can see the roof slanting.
Yes, and there's like a fridge and there's a kitchen up there.
Yeah, kitchen up there. So in this unit, there's actually 2 kitchens. Now, this is an issue. Okay, so I'm going to point out this is one of like the trickiest data pieces there is, and we just came across it. what we
Mm.
can see here is that we're seeing two units, right? There's an upstairs and a downstairs unit, and they're being listed together. So now
Mm.
what I would be worried about, what happens here is sometimes people will list out, they'll have a smaller unit and a larger unit. They'll have two units there together, and they have one Airbnb listing for the upstairs, one Airbnb listing for the downstairs, and they have a third Airbnb listing that encloses both of those. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So a guest, if they wanted to, they could book the entire house. But if one of the individual units gets booked out, then the entire unit listing gets blocked out, right? They set it up so that it's that, because does that make sense? So the third unit would get
Yeah.
blocked out.
Wait, so you're saying that if someone just say books half the house, like one side of it,
Yeah.
Airbnb blocks out the whole thing? Is that what you said?
Yeah, correct. So the calendars will be connected. And so if
Mhm.
somebody were to book out that upstairs unit, what'll happen is the calendar will be connected with the whole house unit, which is
Mm.
would be the third unit. And it'll automatically block out the calendar. And so,
Mm.
and then that one looks like it's blocked off. And then now that person's just renting the upstairs and the downstairs. This is a kind of a confusing thing that people do. And the reason that I'm bringing it up is because the way AirDNA works is it just goes into the calendar. And if the days are blocked, it assumes that it got booked.
Mm.
And so that can be an issue if you didn't actually get it booked, you just got the upstairs booked and not the entire place booked.
Okay, so what if you've got two separate parties booking that duplex? So how would it read that? Can you do that? I
What do you
mean,
mean by read
so they've
that?
got like, pardon?
Sorry, can you explain that again?
Yeah, so if this place you can book, it's described as a duplex. So if you can book just like you said, like one part of it, surely that means that someone else can book, like say they've booked the upstairs,
Mhm.
surely someone else could book the downstairs for the same dates.
They could.
No?
Yes,
Yeah,
they could. Yeah. So, and they probably do, right? That probably
yeah,
happens the entire time. The reason this is an issue for us when it comes to data is
right.
because the one bedroom, the one upstairs and the one downstairs, they're probably booked at, for easy numbers, 100 and 100, right?
Mhm.
But if somebody wanted the entire unit, it's going to cost them 300,
Mm.
right? Because it's a larger unit, and so they rent for more, right?
Yeah.
Now where the issue comes into play is when AirDNA, when somebody books that top one, it blocks off the big one, the whole unit. When it blocks it off saying $300 a night. But really they
Mm.
only got 100 upstairs, 100
Got it.
downstairs. And so the
Yeah,
number,
the numbers are skewed. Yeah, I see that.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, we're having an interesting little trip around Louisville.
Yeah, we're covering a lot of stuff here. I'm gonna keep working through these. We're hitting onto things that
I
are
hope we're gonna find something. I'm looking at it going, oh, I don't know if this is gonna pan out, is what I'm thinking.
oh, it'll pan out. We're hitting all the good stuff. So
Okay.
we're gonna keep working through it. This is a part of the data process. You got to keep drilling through this stuff to get past it.
Sifting through, right? Sifting through.
Exactly. So this home here, as you recognize it, right? You can see all the same photos of what we just went through.
Yeah.
I was correct. So I went to her profile, Deborah's profile, and I found that she has 4 listings in total. And this is the downstairs unit, and this is the upstairs unit, and this is the whole unit. And
Oh,
so you can see this photo and that photo, that was all in the first one that we were just looking at,
right.
right? But when we look at the listing, it's only a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And so
Ah,
my guess was right that she does have it split up, which means that this 78,000 we can't trust. We can't
yes.
trust that number.
Oh, Deborah, you're messing me up.
That's screwing us up, Deborah. So, but that's okay because we have 2 here that are doing 66, and I know in my head that would be almost enough. And if you could do things properly or well,
Properly.
if you do them really well, uh, you can come out ahead. So this is an Airbnb Plus. Interesting. So this is automatically a good listing.
Okay.
Doesn't necessarily mean it's a good home, but the photos are going to be taken really well because Airbnb took them. So decent, pretty decent kitchen.
Bright, clean,
Very
fresh.
clean, very bright. Yeah, definitely. Oh, another separate living room, but it's actually, it says it's in a bedroom.
Oh, so it's like a little kind of hangout space.
Interesting. Okay.
Bedroom 1.
And you
Okay.
got another one, another one. So it's a pretty good home, is what we're getting at. So that's
Yeah.
good to see, right?
And this was how many did this one split? Oh, I see. There's the, I was just gonna say, what does it look like on the exterior? Okay. It's got a little outdoor patio.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nothing special though, right? I wouldn't say it's anything.
Yeah, no like pool or anything like that, right? It's
No,
all
no. Okay, and it's located right there.
in the middle.
Yeah, so it's by this park. So that's what that'll kind of be our reference point when we're looking around. So it's right around here. University, it's right around there. Okay, cool. So that to me is 100% good data, right? Where we can trust that. So I'm going to say that's good. Now let's look at the next one. Let me actually just double check. So I want to see the number of reviews. Yep, see 130 with 4.96. Now that's a really good, that's impressive. 4.96 on 130 reviews is not easy. All right, the next home, very nice looking home as well, but only has 5 reviews. That's okay. So this one only has 5 reviews, but the only reason that's okay is because of Evolve. Evolve is a company that is one of the largest in the entire world for short rentals. And they have their own booking channel that they get a lot of bookings through. They go on VRBO and quite a few other channels as well. So they'll most likely still have accurate data. They just won't have a lot of reviews. That only works when you see Evolve or Vacasa.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, we're hitting all the stops.
We are.
So, okay, cool. This is a super nice home as well. It's really well designed.
Pretty.
Yeah.
But again, it's like homey, but not like, it doesn't feel like, it feels like you'd be fine with taking your family there, but it's not super,
right.
You know, it's got a nice garden, but there's not like huge bells and whistles to it, if you know what I mean.
No, yep, I do know what you mean. So those are two. So this is what I like to see. We have 2 homes that are done really well, that show really well. They have good photos, and they're making roughly about the exact same amount of money, right? And that's what the consistency that we want to be able to see. Now they're both, one was over here and one's over here. So this whole general area, 4 bedrooms that are done well are still making roughly around $66,000 a year. Okay.
Okay.
Now what I want to see is we have these 2 homes that are not doing well. Now where the issue will come into play and is if these homes look very similar to the last 2 homes that we just looked at. If they're done extremely well and they look really great, but they're only making that much money, that's where it becomes an issue, right? Because they shouldn't be making that much money if they look just as nice as the other ones, right? So
they should be making a lot more money, but and why aren't they?
Exactly. Now, so what's most likely happening is that they're not nearly as nice of listings as the ones that we just looked at, right?
Okay.
So that's my guess, and that's usually how it goes. But we'll go into it and we'll take a look, right?
Yeah. Let's see.
And right away, you can tell these aren't competing. I mean, it's not terrible listing. I like how they have different photos for each one of these, but it's not this, right? It's not this, and it's not this. There's a big difference here, right?
You mean these have been done, they're not like professional photos and not professional kind of interior design? Is that what you mean?
Both.
Yeah.
Literally both. Yeah. So in other words, it's not marketed very well. Like the design of the home, the design of everything, you can see they're taking with the iPhone. The interior design is really boring. It's not inviting, it's not interesting. Not putting down this person at all, but like if we're comparing it to the other ones, you're never going to pay the same amount for this home as you're going to pay for this home. You're just never going to do that, right?
Yeah.
Because this one's just so much nicer. Like the furniture itself is styled. so much better. It's got a lot more character to it. Like if I look at this living room, we've got this really nice ottoman.
Yeah,
Um,
the fireplace looks nice.
fireplace, huge TV, bunch of
Huge
light.
TV. Yeah.
Now let's compare that directly with this.
And is it the same nightly rate?
Most likely not. Well, yeah, most likely not, just because there's such a big difference in the amount of revenue. So you can see.
I just wonder if it was like what's the
500.
occupancy?
Yeah, this
Oh,
one.
you can see it there. Okay,
Yeah, occupancy.
that's your average.
Yeah, so this home here, the nice one,
Mhm.
they have their prices really high at 501, and they're booked out 42% of the time. Then this one here has them really low at 155, and they're booked out 89% of the time.
Wow. And yet they're making less money.
And they're making less money. Now, a really impressive thing about this one is the number
This one?
the reviews. So 162 reviews, 4.99. That's insane. It's extremely impressive. You know what's actually funny is I was going through the Louisville report with a guy from Louisville who's a TikToker, and we were looking at the reviews of these one bedrooms in a certain area, and every single one was the same idea, like 4.9, 4.9, 4.95. And I couldn't believe it. That literally doesn't exist like anywhere else. There's not like Louisville has some amazing hosts.
That's wow.
Yeah, I've looked at a lot of listings in a lot of different places, and that's the most I've ever seen. So
wow.
Yeah, super
That's
cool.
very interesting. Yeah, very hospitable in Louisville. It sounds like.
Apparently.
I wonder what they're doing that's like making them, you know what I mean? That's kind of, I'm kind of curious.
That was my thought. Is it the area, or
is it they give him free bourbon? Like what's going on?
Right before the reviews, they're giving him free bourbon. Okay, time to go.
So wait, so that's really cool to see the daily rate and the occupancy, and then to like if that person's getting such great reviews, if they marketed that place better, surely they would be making more money, right? It's not an issue with you know what I mean? It looks like a decent home. It just could use a little more what do you call it, polish, you know what I mean?
Yep. So that is to a T what I try and teach people. This is what I'm teaching, right? That what we're looking at is we are very, very clearly seeing what a good home does compared to a bad home. Not necessarily a bad home, but like a not marketed as well home.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and it's such a difference in price, right? I mean, I'm looking at how much is that? Is there like a calculation there? It's like per year they're down by.
They're down by 18,000.
Wow, that's a big drop.
Huge. That's what people don't realize.
They could be making an extra 18,000 if they were to upgrade everything a bit, right?
Exactly.
Basically what you're saying.
Exactly. To a T, right? So that's what I'm trying to show and teach, right? and explain. So
I want to see the last one, the 33
one. I just
one.
opened it up, and I'm already upset by seeing it. So I need to just check one thing.
Oh, okay. You're upset.
So I'm bothered by it. Because this is what it looks like.
What?
It's not bad. It's making only 33. So now I have to figure out why it's only making 33.
It's 149 a night versus 500 a night.
Well, this one I think is 180, but it has low occupancy. Now, it's not amazing, but it's not terrible, right?
Yeah.
It's not $30,000 less a night. Maybe like it kind of is. It does feel almost like it, but maybe it is. This is as we go further and into it. I really don't like it. But it's not terrible. But it has a nice patio. What are these people doing?
So what are their reviews like?
They're 4.91 or 2. So they're really good. They got 54. They're
149 a night.
That's just for what they're showing right now. The best one to look at is over here, because this is the actual average throughout the entire
Oh,
time.
I see. Oh, that's good to know. So 180 a night.
Yeah, this here is just the cheapest night that they have available as of this
I
month.
see. Right, right. Key Source. So that's that other company that you mentioned, right?
No, Vacasa is the other company.
What's the other one? I can't quite hear you. Vacasa.
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 Yeah, you know, like casa,
Casa.
home in.
Casa y su casa.
Yes, and so vacation, casa.
Oh, vacation. I was wondering what the V was. Okay,
Yeah.
vacation. Vacasa.
Okay, so this
Okay.
is where the issue comes into play. They're in the same area, obviously, because that's what we're looking at. They
Yeah.
have really good reviews.
Right. So what's
And
going on?
so realistically, it doesn't have any style to it,
Yeah.
right? And the rooms look super, super plain.
Yes.
The kitchen's also really small, and that fridge sticks out like a sore thumb. There's really nowhere to cut.
Yeah, it's an old style kitchen. You can tell by the hinges and things, right? That's been
Right.
repainted
And
with
then
a big fridge. And that looks really strange, that bedroom.
they all do, which is, but I mean, like,
Kind of awkward.
yeah.
what I
So
mean?
this is the weird part where, you know, it's not a terrible home. It's not a good,
No.
but it's making $30,000 less than these guys.
Wow. And it's got the same number of bedrooms and all that,
And
right? I mean,
bathroom, mind you, this is designed way better. It's a way nicer kitchen.
yeah,
Like it's significant.
yeah,
This is significantly better,
right.
right? It's blowing my mind that it's $30,000 better,
Wow.
right? And then if I were to
You're
look at
the,
this one,
you're the expert, so it's blowing your mind.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
so intriguing to me that it's that amount. But I mean, this home has a nice big kitchen, right? We look at this one, you're
it's
squeezed up.
tiny.
Yeah, you're squeezed in there. Even this little extra stuff it has here makes it look even
Yeah,
smaller.
people, I mean, a 4-bedroom home is usually going to be around 8 people, right? At least.
Yeah, you want the space,
Yeah,
right?
you need this, you need a big kitchen. People like that big kitchen family room kind of combo so they can mingle, right? And eat. And,
You're quicker than I am, because when I was in, so my area of expertise was 4 bedrooms in Chicago, and it I eventually realized, I lost a bunch of money on some homes, that I needed the space to be really big for it to make the amount of money that I needed it to make, right? And so I eventually got to a point where even if everything was perfect about the home, the price, the location, the landlord was on board, everything, but if it didn't have a dining room, I wouldn't take it. So if there's no dining room, I couldn't sign a lease on it, because people need the space when there's, I would host 12 people at a time. So they need the space to be able to move around with their entire group. And if there's no dining room, there's not enough common space. And so people don't like it.
so, so you're saying that if I were to go to this area, Deer Park,
Yes.
and look at 4-bedroom homes that are for rent,
Yeah.
I'm really looking for something that's got that downstairs big kind of kitchen, you know what I mean, already layout. That's the word I'm trying to think
Exactly.
of.
You
Right.
need, so you would
That's
need
really
it to be large. You would need to design it well. You would need it to be, you need the photos to be taken really well. So a lot of love, care, style put into it. You would need to make sure it doesn't look like this in the kitchen, or you don't make sure the bedrooms don't look like that, right? And you need to do those things. Now I have only 5 minutes, and I apologize because I actually do have a call right after this. But what you would need to do at this point, so I'm going to share this with you, okay? We've gone through this process right now where I wish I could keep going with you. I'm really sorry. Maybe we can schedule another call and keep going a little further. But
yes, please.
Yeah.
I'm going there next week, so this is great.
Perfect. So your homework then from here for what to do moving forward, right? Is to look through here at the different areas where there's a lot of money being made.
Yeah.
And see the data in the exact same way that we just went through it, where you organize it by revenue. And then you go and look through the listings and try to confirm if that information is correct or not, right? While you're doing this, you're trying to figure out, what are these people here doing well, and what are these people here doing wrong? Okay.
Right.
And then you do what these people are doing and you avoid what these people are doing. Okay. So you're always trying to be, duplicate what is working, right? And I think, like, in my mind, it's super clear that what these homes, not this one, what these homes are doing, they look significantly better. They're more inviting. They've got the space. They have a good kitchen. In comparison to the other ones, like this is also the other one that's doing really well. Super great furniture design, everything. But then this one doesn't have that feeling, so it makes complete sense. It's not making that much money. And then this one as well. It's the same idea, right? You've got to think, if I'm going, like, think of it like a product, like I don't know, like here's a Lululemon canister, right? That costs a lot of money. It looks really sleek. It's really nice. I got it as a gift, but it is worth more money than a plain one that you would get from Walmart, right? And it's just because the way they look, and so people are willing to pay more for something like this compared to something that you would get there. And Airbnb works the exact same way. So you want to try and see what's working and what's not. And then when you go look for a home, you find that. Now, I'm gonna buzz through this, but I promise you we'll talk more. So you can see we have all these homes here, 2000, 2000, 2000, all these different places. What you want to do is you want to go through these and take a look at them and see, do they meet the criteria that we just discussed? Does it have the large kitchen? Does it have the living room? Does, look at, there's a nice large kitchen. There's a nice outdoor area. That's fairly new. That's nice stone thing. Like, so right off the bat, this is telling me it's hitting all the things that I want it to hit. And it's got a backyard. Perfect, right? So let's assume that this would be a scenario that would work for us. It's 2,600. What you want to do is you want to come over to this. You come all the way. Sorry, I'm going to hide this for you so you don't have to look at it. You come over to here where it says property valuation, right?
Okay.
We have the welcome sign, which you can get rid of. You can hide afterwards. We have the pivot bedroom, which we've been going through. We have another pivot unique here, which breaks everything up by bedrooms and bathrooms. So it's a little bit more confusing, but if you want to get really concise, you can see the 2-bedroom, 1-baths are making around 20 to 30, whereas a 2-bedroom, 2-baths are making around 40. So there's a difference based off of the bedrooms. So that's why I split it up there, so you can dive a little deeper into that sort of information. But now the very last thing here is the property valuation. This is a template that I've created that allows you to figure out how profitable a location could potentially be, right? So what you see here is this first part is just general information about a property that you're looking into. That would be like this property over here, right? So you would grab all the information about this property and you would plug it into this portion up here, right? And the next part is the comparable properties. So what are the comparable properties? And you find properties that are comparable. So we know that this one and this one would be our comparable properties, right? Yeah. And so what you would do is you'd grab the information from that tab that we were just going through. So we say, okay, these are our comparable properties. And we bring it over here and we plug that in here. And then we grab the revenue numbers. Okay, we bring that over, we pop it in. And what that does, when the revenue numbers are right here, it's going to pop in what the average annual revenue could be right there, right? Yeah. Or you could just put the number in if you think you can make 65,000 or 70,000, you just type it in there, right? And then we go through what are all of our expenses. So we know the mortgage on that, or the rent on that home is 2,600. We know the cleaners are going to cost us roughly about, let's say let's go $800 a month. Gas is going to be about 150, electric 150, internet's going to be 80, maintenance is going to be 100, amenity is going to be 100, and we don't have any pool. We do have a lawn, but that's going to be taken care of with property management. Actually, you're going to manage the home from a distance, so it'll be free. So we do need somebody to take care of the lawn. Boom, done. So now what we figured out is that a home in that area can make about $65,000, almost $66,000 a year. All of our expenses, including the mortgage, is going to cost us about $48,000 a year, which leaves us with a grand total of $16,000, almost $17,000 of profit. Boom. So now you know that if you were to get a 2-bedroom or 4-bedroom in that area that met all the requirements that we were looking for, large kitchen, good backyard, good area, you design it really well, you put it together really well, there's $18,000 or $17,000 of money to be made, right? Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I didn't see in your list the cost for making it look really nice, the furniture and stuff you're going to put in there.
Yes, that's not in there because that's a one-time fee. This is like the cash flow you'd be making. So you would just simply know how much that's going to cost, and then you figure it out. So for a 4-bedroom with that amount, it's probably going to be about $15,000 for first month's last rent and all that furniture. And then it'll be so it'll take you about a year to get all your money back, and then you'll make money the following year.
I see.
Yeah. Okay. And so you just keep repeating this process over and over again. Okay. And you go into the next area and you review all the listings, and then you figure out how much it could potentially make. You figure out what the criteria is for that, and then you go and find the properties online that are available.
Quick question.
Yes.
Based on all your expertise, does this sound viable in terms of a location, or should I keep looking around for other areas?
I would say it's not terrible. It's not great. I think that from what I'm seeing, there are definitely some areas that make sense. But you really wouldn't know until you went through as all of it, like all of it, or like all the different, at least all the different areas that are making a lot of money.
Okay.
That's most. So like the fact that I'm seeing, there's a lot of money being made right here, hundreds, like $100,000 plus, even though there's no homes available at this moment, they will come online at one point or another.
Right.
The 59,000 is pretty good for a 3-bedroom as well. We just figured out that you can make about 16,000 in this general area. So it's not, or 17,000. So it's not a terrible area. Okay. But it's not also like the greatest area, but I would say it's a workable, doable area. But you would know even more as you dive deeper into it.
Okay.
Okay, so I just shared the listing with you, or I just shared this with you. The very first tab is going to tell you exactly what you need to do to get your own copy, and so you'll follow that there. And then if you have any questions, just reach out to me. I apologize so deeply for having to be so quick on this.
No, that's okay, John. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Thank you.